A peaceful town was suddenly shaken when a 24-year-old nursing student was found amid the flames on a Walt road. The forensic report revealed that she had passed away from a severe head injury.
A mother pleads with law enforcement to catch her daughter's killer before she says someone else gets hurt. Good evening, I'm Kim Chapman.
And I'm Calvin Sneed. The murder of Megan Sharpton happened in Franklin County back in July. The murder left the family devastated and on edge, knowing her killer is still out there somewhere.
Tullahoma, Tennessee, USA. A small town located just over an hour's drive south of Nashville. It's a peaceful, rustic place where everyone knows each other, and stories rarely travel beyond its borders. In 2012, amid that quiet setting, lived a young woman named Erica Megan Sharpton, born in 1988, a 24-year-old everyone affectionately called Megan. She came from a large family and had moved several times before finally settling in Tullahoma. Megan was known for being hardworking, always driven by clear goals, and her warm smile made everyone around her feel at ease. Friends described her as funny, outgoing, and endlessly determined to build her future. In just 2 more months, Megan was set to graduate and begin her nursing career, a dream she had pursued for many years. Megan wasn't just a good student, she was also a tireless worker. She waited tables at a local steakhouse and picked up extra shifts at a nursing home to gain caregiving experience, something she believed would help her later in her nursing career. At 24, she was living with her boyfriend, Chris, and after 3 years together, everyone thought Megan was in one of the happiest, most promising chapters of her life. On the evening of July 1st, she planned to visit her mother and younger sister, a simple but eagerly anticipated family night. Then, just before dinner, Megan called her mom, Kelly, to say she had received a sudden invitation to interview for a caregiving job. Her voice was full of excitement as she mentioned that if things went well, she might even get an advance payment right after the meeting. It was the kind of opportunity that perfectly fit a girl who was always striving to move forward. Her family wished her good luck and planned to see her the next day. But the night passed. Then midnight came. And still, no one heard from Megan. She didn't text, didn't answer calls, and never came home. By the following morning, unease began to settle in among her loved ones. The interview she mentioned, was it real? And if it was, what happened afterward? In the early hours of July 2nd, 2012, around 1:20 a.m., the air in Tullahoma, Tennessee, was unusually dry and hot. Along a deserted stretch known as a Walt road, 2 teenagers driving through a lightly wooded area suddenly noticed flames rising among the trees. It was a remote spot where almost no one ever stopped. The nearest building was a church nearly half a mile away, and the closest house stood across a small bridge. This road was meant for passing through, not for lingering, especially in the middle of the night. Believing it was a small forest fire that could spread quickly, the teenagers immediately called emergency services. When firefighters and police arrived at the scene, the flames had already spread across a wide area, burning fiercely against the stillness of the night. At first, responders assumed it was an abandoned campfire or a cigarette that had accidentally sparked the blaze. But as they approached, a strange, acrid smell and an unusual shape amid the ashes left everyone frozen in place. They quickly realized this was not an ordinary brush fire. The 2 teenagers called 911 again, reporting the location and describing the growing flames in the woods. When firefighters and police arrived at the scene, they quickly realized the blaze wasn't an accident. Someone had deliberately set the fire to erase the traces of a person among the ashes. They discovered it was Megan Sharpton. There was no car nearby, and no one appeared around the area. She had no identification, no wallet, no phone, and no personal belongings with her. Megan's clothing was missing from the waist down, and based on her position and the location of the fire, investigators determined she had already passed away before the flames were set. One officer later recalled that he had never witnessed anything so tragic. The injuries to her head showed clear signs of severe trauma, suggesting she had endured a violent attack beforehand. However, there were no missing person reports in the area, making it difficult to identify her at first. It wasn't until investigators noticed a medical field t-shirt and several distinctive tattoos on her body that they found their first clues about the young woman. Someone who once carried the dream of becoming a nurse, now lying in an empty field, leaving the quiet town of Tullahoma in shock. The investigation began quickly as news of the incident spread across Tullahoma. A Facebook post mentioned the discovery of a young woman with a star tattoo, and only minutes after seeing it, Kelly, Megan's mother, immediately called the police. Megan had a small star tattoo on her ankle representing her siblings, and another one on the back of her neck. Just hearing those details, Kelly knew deep down that the worst had happened. She didn't need to wait for official confirmation. She recognized her daughter instantly in her heart. The devastating news swept through the small town, leaving everyone in shock. A 24-year-old woman, known for her smile and passion for life, had now become the center of a heartbreaking case that left the entire community grieving and unsettled.
Workers couldn't believe the news waitress Erica Sharpton, or Megan as they called her, was murdered.
We were all just shocked because she never seemed like she was in any kind of trouble.
Friends say Sharpton was a busy 24-year-old who was balancing this job with nursing school and another job at a nursing home.
To try and get out of the restaurant business and get into a better career field, where she can accelerate.
The young lady's body was over here.
Sheriff Tim Fuller says deputies discovered Sharpton's body in this grass on fire early Monday morning. After putting out the flames, they discovered evidence of trauma to her head.
It appears to us that she may have very well been murdered at another location and was literally dumped here to dispose of the body.
Did the tragedy happen on her way home from that mysterious interview? Did she actually go to the meeting she told her mother about? Was the person who called to invite her the same one who lured her into a trap? Or was this simply a random attack in the middle of the night? Countless unanswered questions began to hang over the investigation and over the police themselves.
Now is Kelly Sharpton. I'm sure this has just been so difficult for you and your family. Our prayers go out to you. How did you find out what happened to your beautiful daughter?
I actually read a post on Facebook where they had described a girl with a star tattoo on the back of her neck and one on her foot, and I knew that it was her.
When was the last time you talked to your daughter, and what kind of mood was she in? I understand she was saying that she was going to go over and visit a family, correct?
Right. My other daughter was here from out of town, and she had just woken up at 3:45 that afternoon. She'd worked the late shift at the restaurant where she worked and was planning to come over after that. She said after she got her shower she would come on, and she didn't come. But we were under the understanding she had an interview with somebody to start sitting with an elderly lady, and so we just figured she had gone on and gone to that interview, but we lost track of her after that.
If somebody is out there listening tonight and they saw something, what would you like to say to them as you are desperately searching for clues for your daughter?
Just please, if you saw anything, even the smallest detail, please call the police, call TBI or Franklin County Sheriff's Department. They've been wonderful. They've kept us up to date. They've left no stone unturned. It's just been great, and please call. She was our daughter, and our sister.
Police began their investigation by questioning those closest to Megan, and the first person they turned to was Chris, her boyfriend of 3 years. Megan's family admitted that in the first moments after hearing the news, they couldn't help but briefly wonder if Chris might have been involved. Their relationship had often been described as fire and water, deeply in love, yet marked by frequent arguments, breakups, and reconciliations. During questioning, Chris told officers that he had tried calling Megan several times that night, but she never answered. When she didn't come home, he assumed she had decided to stay over at her mother's. However, when police searched the apartment, they discovered a small amount of suspicious residue in the bathroom, along with a few items linked to prohibited substances. While nothing could yet be confirmed, these findings were enough to place both Chris and his roommate, Robbie, under formal interrogation. In the midst of questioning, police received a crucial tip. Megan's 1995 red Ford Mustang had been found, opening up an entirely new direction in the investigation.
Investigators found Sharpton's 95 red Ford Mustang 15 miles away on Three Forks Ridge Road in Bedford County. They're now asking the public for any information how it got there and whether anyone has seen the woman's pink purse.
Those two pieces of information will be very, very valuable to us.
Inside Megan's car, police found a handwritten note with an address and directions to a place called 850 Shelfer Road. However, when they checked, they discovered that the address didn't exist. It appeared to have been fabricated, possibly to lure Megan somewhere else. There were no other suspicious traces in the car besides that single note. Back at the station, Robbie admitted that the items related to prohibited substances found in the apartment were his, but he insisted he was trying to overcome the issue on his own, and that neither Chris nor Megan knew about it. During questioning, Robbie also revealed that he and Megan had once shared a secret personal relationship, a revelation that led investigators to wonder. Had Chris discovered the affair and, in a moment of anger, caused a tragedy? But Chris had no knowledge whatsoever of the secret relationship between Robbie and Megan, and he was visibly shocked when he learned about it. He admitted that there had been minor disagreements in their relationship, but according to officers, Chris was devastated, trembling, and utterly broken upon hearing of Megan's passing. With a solid alibi confirmed at his workplace, he was quickly ruled out as a suspect. Meanwhile, although Robbie couldn't provide a clear alibi, phone records showed that he had been texting Megan throughout the night and even into the early morning hours, expressing concern when she didn't respond. After carefully reviewing the evidence, investigators concluded that Robbie had no involvement in the tragic case. However, Chris provided police with an important lead. He recalled that a strange man had called one of Megan's phones on the day she was last seen. The man claimed he was looking for someone to care for his grandmother and said that Naomi had recommended Megan for the job. Eager to gain more hands-on experience in the nursing field, Megan was genuinely excited. She believed this could be the perfect start to her upcoming career. This was the mysterious job she had mentioned to her family during her final phone call. But for investigators, this was the first time the name Naomi appeared in the case file. The only Naomi Chris knew of was a woman who had studied nursing with Megan the previous year. And that connection made the entire situation even more suspicious. When the name Naomi was first mentioned, investigators immediately sensed it could be the key to unlocking the mystery behind Megan's final phone call. They began following this lead, hoping to identify the man who had contacted her that day. However, as the search progressed, Another detail unexpectedly caught their attention. The name Naomi and Megan's nursing background reminded many of a shocking case that had occurred just 6 months earlier. The disappearance of 20-year-old Holly Bobo, also a nursing student in Decatur County, about 130 miles from Tullahoma. The similarities in age, circumstances, and field of study were too strong for investigators to ignore, raising the possibility that the two tragic cases might be connected. As word spread, fear gripped the community, and the media began questioning whether a dangerous individual was targeting young women. The peaceful atmosphere that once defined Tullahoma quickly vanished, replaced by growing anxiety and unease throughout the town. After cross-checking lists and ruling out each possibility, investigators finally located a woman named Naomi who seemed to match the information Chris had provided. They immediately went to her address to verify, but Naomi wasn't home. A neighbor gave police her phone number, and when they called, Naomi sounded surprised to learn the reason for their contact. She firmly stated that she had never recommended Megan for any job, and even admitted that the two were not close at all. According to Naomi, they had only carpooled to class a few times and rarely spoke otherwise. When asked why her name had been mentioned in the supposed job interview call, Naomi said she had no idea and was certain she wasn't the one who made the referral. Her response left investigators confused and disappointed, as it had been their only promising lead, and now everything had gone back to square one. A short time later, the forensic report on Megan was sent to the police department. The results revealed that she had been the victim of a severe assault on her dignity before suffering multiple serious injuries to her head and face. Although the blunt force trauma had caused significant damage, ballistic evidence showed that the direct cause of her passing was the impact from a dangerous, barrel-equipped object. Investigators concluded that this same object was likely used to inflict her earlier injuries, indicating that the act had been deliberate and carried out with cruelty.
A mother pleads with law enforcement to catch her daughter's killer before she says someone else gets hurt. Good evening, I'm Kim Chapman.
And I'm Calvin Sneed. The murder of Megan Sharpton happened in Franklin County back in July. The murder left her family devastated and on edge, knowing her killer is still out there somewhere.
I wake up in the morning with the horrible realization that my daughter is dead and she's never coming back.
Megan Sharpton was brutally murdered on July 2nd after she was lured to a home. She was raped several times and beaten. Her body was found burning on the side of the road in Franklin County. District Attorney Michael Taylor is overseeing the case.
The investigation is continuing, and hopefully we will have a successful outcome in the near future.
While a murderer walks free, her family is left with a gaping hole. Kelly talks about her son's connection with Megan.
He really valued her and went to her for most of his advice and needs, and he's been devastated.
Sadness and grief have overcome the mother of four who promised to support her children through college. Megan would be graduating from nursing school on October 26th.
I have to accept her diploma for her, and that will be joyous, but it will break my heart because it should be her.
The Sharptons are pleading for District Attorney Taylor to speed up the process and make an arrest in the case so no other woman get hurt. If you have any information on this case, call the Franklin County Sheriff's Department.
After the forensic results confirmed that Megan had been the victim of a brutal assault, investigators realized they were dealing with a calculating and methodical perpetrator. Yet despite extensive searches, the phone Megan had with her that fateful night was never found. Just as the investigation seemed to be stalling, her boyfriend, Chris, unexpectedly came across another phone. The very one that had received the mysterious call inviting Megan to the supposed job interview. Thanks to this clue, police were finally able to trace the suspicious number. The The results revealed that the call had been made from an unregistered prepaid phone, the kind often used to conceal the caller's identity. Nearly 12 weeks after Megan was discovered, investigators managed to trace the phone's origin to a store in Tullahoma. Security footage showed a man purchasing the device, and during the transaction, he briefly placed his personal phone on the counter, accidentally revealing that he was buying a second phone to avoid detection. As he left the store, cameras captured him getting into a red pickup truck. Through this footage, police identified the man as Timmy Gifford, an individual previously linked to activities involving prohibited substances in the area. The emergence of his name stunned investigators and raised a new wave of questions, as no one had expected someone living on the fringes of society to be connected to such a heartbreaking case. When police traced the license plate of the red pickup truck, they discovered that the driver wasn't Timmy, but his older brother, Paul Gifford. Paul explained that the truck had been purchased by Timmy from a friend and later loaned to him temporarily, insisting he had no knowledge of the vehicle being linked to any criminal investigation. Based on his statement, officers quickly located Timmy Gifford, the man seen in the surveillance footage. During questioning, Timmy appeared cooperative and admitted that he had indeed bought the prepaid phone, claiming he did so as a favor for a friend. Coincidentally, that same friend was also the one who had sold him the red pickup truck. The friend in question was Donnie Frank Jones Jr., a name well known to law enforcement. Donnie had a lengthy record and had previously served as an informant for police in minor cases. However, the connection between Donnie and Megan remained a complete mystery at that point, leaving investigators to wonder what had brought their paths together on that fateful night. Timmy told investigators that Donnie had recently undergone surgery and had asked him to purchase the prepaid phone on his behalf since he couldn't go out himself. As a thank you, Donnie gave Timmy some pain medication he had been prescribed after the procedure. A few days later, Donnie texted Timmy again, saying he wanted to trade his red pickup truck for a Mustang and asked if Timmy could help arrange it. Timmy admitted he found the request strange since Donnie had several young children, and the truck was clearly the more practical vehicle for family life. Still, he agreed to help. Timmy later handed the truck over to his brother Paul for temporary use, and when he looked inside, he noticed that all the carpeting and interior panels had been recently replaced. When asked about it, Donnie explained that his wife had suggested changing the interior because a car with new upholstery sells faster. It was at that moment that the final piece of the puzzle began to fall into place. Investigators discovered that Donnie Frank Jones Jr. was the husband of Naomi Jones, the very woman whose name had been mentioned in the mysterious job interview call to Megan, and the same person police had spoken with weeks earlier. Realizing the direct connection between Naomi, Donnie, and the victim, officers immediately returned to the couple's home with a search warrant, hoping to uncover concrete evidence. When questioned, Donnie initially denied knowing Megan at all, but only minutes later, he abruptly changed his story, saying he might have given Megan and his wife a few rides to school in the past. He insisted that on the night of the incident, he had been home with his children. Donnie also rejected Timmy's statement about the prepaid phone and claimed he had nothing to do with anything suspicious. When police asked to search the house, Donnie appeared cooperative, saying they could look anywhere and even collect DNA samples if they wished, as he had nothing to hide. After a thorough search, investigators found nothing unusual inside the home and left with only the DNA sample. unaware that it would later become the single most crucial piece of evidence in the entire Megan Sharpton case. While investigators were still awaiting the DNA test results, a deeply emotional moment took place at the Tennessee Technology Center, where Megan was supposed to be called to the stage at her nursing graduation ceremony. Instead of applause and celebration, the hall was filled with silence and profound sorrow. Megan's 18 classmates held a solemn tribute in her honor, sharing memories of her dedication, kindness, and unwavering spirit throughout their years of study together. Though her chair remained empty, everyone could feel her presence, as if she were still smiling among her friends, in the very moment she had spent years dreaming of.
She was supposed to accept her degree in practical nursing from the Tennessee Technology Center.
Megan worked hard for this. She wanted this. She wanted to be a nurse. And she was on her way before her life was stolen.
In the most solemn moment of the ceremony, when Megan Sharpton's name was called, the entire hall rose to their feet in an emotional round of applause. Kelly, Megan's mother, walked onto the stage, her hands trembling though her eyes tried to remain composed. She accepted the diploma on behalf of her daughter, as the sound of muffled sobs filled the room among friends and teachers alike.
I'm not the only one that should be sad. Every patient that she would have had, every person that she would have touched should also be lost like I am.
The seats was made up where she would have been sat.
Bittersweet. So proud of her for her work. Heartbroken that some evil person would take her from this world.
The Combined DNA Index System, known as CODIS, is a centralized database that allows law enforcement agencies across the country to compare and match digital DNA profiles, helping connect cases and identify potential suspects based on collected samples. When the DNA obtained from the crime scene was entered into the system, the results returned a clear match. It matched the profile of Donnie Frank Jones Jr., the very man police had previously questioned. Donnie was immediately summoned back for interrogation. However, he adamantly denied any involvement, insisting that the police had the wrong person. He maintained that he had never dated or had any kind of personal relationship with Megan, attempting to distance himself completely from the case. But investigators knew that CODIS doesn't lie, and the chain of truth was finally beginning to unravel. When confronted with the DNA results, Donnie immediately changed his story. He claimed that he and Megan had shared a consensual, intimate relationship, but both had kept it secret for personal reasons. Although investigators believed he was hiding the truth, they didn't yet have enough legal evidence to disprove his statement, forcing them to let him go home temporarily. Records showed that Donnie had previously faced several serious charges, including moral misconduct, theft, assault, and document forgery. Because of his criminal history, he was prohibited from possessing any dangerous, barrel-equipped objects. When police discovered he still had one in his home, they quickly obtained a search and arrest warrant. The goal wasn't only to address the possession violation, but also to extend the investigation into his possible direct involvement in the heartbreaking case of Megan Sharpton. 4 months after Megan was found, the final pieces of evidence were finally assembled, allowing police to officially identify Donnie Frank Jones Jr. as the primary suspect. Forensic specialists confirmed that the type of bullet recovered at the scene matched the rounds fired from the rifle Donnie owned, creating a direct physical link. Furthermore, GPS data from both his phone and vehicle placed Donnie in the area of the crime scene during the time frame of Megan's disappearance. Analysis of cell tower signals revealed that the prepaid phone used to call Megan had moved in tandem with Donnie's personal phone throughout that evening, confirming that both devices were in the same location, traveling together in Donnie's vehicle. The GPS data pinpointed 3 critical locations. The first, where investigators believe Megan was lured and restrained. The second, where the violent attack occurred. And the third, where her body was found. Most notably, the site believed to be where Megan's ordeal took place was located on property owned by Donnie's family. There, police discovered a partially burned scarf later identified as one of Megan's personal belongings, the final piece of physical evidence that sealed the undeniable connection between the suspect and the victim.
Monday, November the 5th at approximately 6:30 p.m., the Franklin County Grand Jury returned an indictment against the Tullahoma man for the murder of Megan Sharpton.
He has been charged with first-degree murder of Megan and will face justice in our court system.
This is rural Middle Tennessee. We don't see things like that here. We don't experience that level of brutality or violence or just coldness.
Donnie Frank Jones Jr. was formally charged with multiple serious offenses, including 2 counts of organized kidnapping, 2 counts of aggravated assault on personal dignity, and 1 count of first-degree homicide. These were among the most severe charges under Tennessee state law, reflecting the cruelty and calculated nature of the acts he was accused of committing.
Announced Tuesday that 37-year-old Donnie Jones was charged with killing Megan Sharpton.
On Tuesday, the Franklin County Sheriff's Office charged 37-year-old Donnie Jones with Megan's rape and murder.
A lot of the things that they had shared with me make me know that this is the right person. Then when I started hearing how it all fell together, I had no doubt.
Hearing the charges against Jones and seeing him locked behind bars gives Sharpton a sense of satisfaction for her daughter and the community.
But she's filled my life with so much joy for 24 years. So I'll just take that with me and try to learn from this experience.
Donnie Jones has 21 previous felony convictions ranging from forgery to aggravated assault. He had been in jail on an unrelated charge, and he now faces 2 counts each of kidnapping, rape, and murder. He's due back in court on November the 16th.
Bail for Donnie Frank Jones Jr. was set at $500,000 as prosecutors began preparing for a major trial. Further investigation revealed that the prepaid phone Donnie had used was not only used to contact Megan, but also to call several other numbers, most belonging to women working in elder care or nursing. This indicated that Donnie had been deliberately targeting potential victims, selecting women with backgrounds similar to Megan's. He remembered Megan from the few times he had driven her to school with his wife. And from there, he obtained her phone number using Naomi's phone to build trust. He pretended to be Naomi, claiming there was an urgent caregiving job available, and lured Megan to a remote location under the promise of a career opportunity. Call logs confirmed that Naomi, Donnie's wife, was at work on the night of the crime, and police verified that she had no knowledge of or involvement in her husband's plan. Investigators also confirmed that there was no connection between Donnie and the disappearance of Holly Bobo, putting an end to speculation that the 2 cases were linked. Although the charges against Donnie qualified for the highest possible penalty under state law, prosecutors did not publicly confirm whether they would pursue it. When he appeared in court, Donnie Frank Jones Jr. continued to plead not guilty, even as the evidence against him continued to mount.
He walked into a Manchester courtroom with shackles on his hands and feet, coming face to face with Megan Sharpton's mother, Kelly, who was clutching a picture of her daughter.
Well, our theory was that the purpose of the fire was to destroy the semen present in her body.
District Attorney Mike Taylor says the fire actually ended up preserving the evidence that became key after investigators linked Jones to the crime through cell phone records and Sharpton's clothing found on his family's property.
I know that he had a 98 escape where he actually tried to kidnap 2 young ladies in a car and make them take him to the interstate.
In court, Jones asked the judge for a speedy trial, and he mouthed to relatives what appeared to be, "I didn't do it."
And he knows in his heart, the universe knows who's guilty. I don't have to argue with him. The police have done their work.
However, once Donnie realized that the highest penalty under the law could be applied to him, he began expressing a desire to reach a deal with prosecutors. According to sources from the prosecution, the proposed agreement would be an exchange. Donnie would plead fully guilty in return for the removal of the possibility of receiving the maximum sentence.
As the man who killed her agreed to a plea deal that will keep him in prison for the rest of his life.
In February 2013, 37-year-old Donnie Frank Jones Jr. finally admitted to all charges, including first-degree homicide in the case of Megan Sharpton. In court, he accepted a life sentence without the possibility of parole, officially closing one of Tullahoma's most heartbreaking cases. However, shortly afterward, Donnie unexpectedly filed a motion to withdraw his guilty plea, claiming that his attorney had pressured him into confessing and that his wife had been threatened during the investigation. Judge Curtis Smith of the Circuit Court reviewed the motion and temporarily granted the request to reopen the case. Yet, after a thorough review of all records, the original sentence was swiftly reinstated, and Donnie Jones Jr. remains imprisoned under a life without parole sentence. An inevitable outcome for the cruel series of actions that led to the tragedy of Megan Sharpton. Carrie, Megan's older sister, shared in an interview, "If Megan hadn't been taken from us, I truly believe Donnie Jones would still be out there, finding ways to deceive other young women. It was Megan who made sure he ended up in prison. She sacrificed her own life to protect others in the community." Carrie's words brought many to tears as they revealed how the Sharpton family's immense loss had transformed into a force that could prevent future tragedies. As for Kelly Sharpton, Megan's mother, who endured the unbearable pain of losing her daughter, she once said that the sorrow consumed her mind and never truly faded, though she tried to stay strong and continue living. Kelly struggled with prolonged emotional turmoil, and tragedy struck once more when, in November 2013, she passed away in grief, leaving behind an irreplaceable void in the hearts of those who loved Megan. The officers who worked on the Megan Sharpton case shared that they would never forget the heartbreak of witnessing what she had endured. They said that Megan's final moments must have been filled with terror and panic, a tragedy no one should ever have to face. The young woman, full of plans, dreams, and a bright future, was taken in a cruel and senseless way. Megan's loss, followed by the painful tragedy of her mother Kelly's passing, left a deep wound in the heart of the entire Tullahoma community. In her memory, a 7-foot memorial was erected near the spot where Megan was found on that fateful morning. The monument was designed with 24 stars, each representing a year of her life, and honoring the star tattoos Megan cherished, symbols of her love for family. Carrie, Megan's sister, expressed her deep gratitude, saying the family would forever be thankful to the community for the love, support, and compassion they had shown through the years of grief. A powerful reminder that humanity still shines even after the deepest sorrow. The story of Megan Sharpton is not just a heartbreaking case retold in a true crime documentary, but also a powerful reminder about personal safety and trust in today's world. Just one seemingly harmless phone call, one promising job opportunity, led a young woman with dreams and ambition to face the unimaginable. Megan's story reminds us that vigilance and caution are the most valuable shields we have. Always share your plans with loved ones. Verify information before meeting strangers, and never trade your safety for opportunity. Thank you for taking the time to listen to today's case in True Crime Documentary. If you were moved by the journey and the tragic fate of Megan Sharpton, please share this video, leave a comment to honor her memory, and don't forget to subscribe and hit like to continue joining us for more stories to come. We'll see you in the next episode of True Crime Documentary, where we revisit real-life cases, not to instill fear, but to remind ourselves of the value of life and the importance of staying safe.